Do you have like a first memory? The first memory you can think of being a little girl?
Well, I was told things I did, but I remember being about 5 or 6 and having a pair of roller skates, and we were close to the main street, and we could just walk down and be right on Orange Avenue and not be in any danger. We lived in a nest of rentals, and so I didn't really have any friend that I grew up that lived next door.
Is your sister your best friend?
Yeah, but we were very different. So
You kind of hesitated when you answered that question.
well, we were friendly and we were never estranged, but we were never close as we were older. She lived in Jacksonville, and I lived here.
What were your parents like?
Very good. My father was a bean counter and a very good man, and they were good for us. They were strict. He was particularly. And my mother was the most loving person that probably ever lived. My mother grew up right across the lake here.
Your mother. What year do you have any idea what year your mother was born?
1893.
1893. Who you are as a person is more from your mother or from your father?
Oh, I don't know. I'm a mixture. My father was, as you can imagine, very much a counter.
Yeah.
And my mother was looser and loving. My father loved me, but I didn't think so at the time because he was pretty strict.
So you were describing your house. So what would it...
Well, it was 3 rooms wide and 2 rooms deep. And it had a big porch and columns across the front.
Did you have your own room?
Shared with my sister most of the time. Sometimes we would have separate rooms.
What's it feel like being on this street? Does it have memories?
Oh, I walked down here. I walked down here and went to the Ibsen studio and learned to dance. There was a barking dog in one house. That one, I think, scared me to death.
What do you remember about laundry in the old days?
Well, we had a woman who came, and she would get there about 8 o'clock in the morning, and she'd build a fire in the backyard and put the boiling pot on, and she would boil all the white clothes. And then she set up a bench with tubs on it and rinsed them and did the colored clothes. And the next day she would come back and iron them.
How many years did you live in this house we're going to, or that area we're going to?
Until I married. And then I had to come back there because it was World War II, and I had just got married, and my husband was taken away to a school in the Army, and I didn't have any other place to go, so I went back home to Mama and stayed till he finished his school.
So did he wind up serving?
Yes, he served in World War II, and then I went back home again because when he left, he was gone 1.5 years.
Where did he go?
Germany.
Wow.
They went to California and were going to learn to land big guns from landing craft. And the Battle of the Bulge happened, so they turned around and sent them back to the East Coast. And by the time they got over, the Battle of the Bulge was mostly over, and they went in as replacement troops.
Wow. How did he communicate with you? Were you getting letters?
Letters, email, little thin papers you could buy at the post office, and write on them and mail them. And we had one telephone conversation. He was there after the war, and that's when we had a very carefully arranged telephone conversation for 3 minutes for $14.
So what would you say? Could he even say where he was, or did he have?
Oh yes, by then. This was afterwards. And see, they stayed after they let those people go, the army,
Right.
the German army, and they stayed there for about a year. He learned German and saw a bit of Germany.
How did you two meet?
I don't know. We went to the same church. So we grew up in the same Sunday school and all that. And he was just there and I was there, but we never paid any attention to each other. And finally, a group I was in was having a full moon boat ride. And I didn't have a date. I invited him to go on the boat ride at the advice of a friend who had grown up near him. And I never really dated anybody else because I was 15, almost 16 at that time, and I had never dated. So here I dated one guy and married him.
When did he die?
He died in 2017.
2000. So how many years of marriage is that?
73.
73 years of marriage.
He was a good and patient man.
What do you miss the most about him?
Oh, I don't know. I still wake up and hear somebody snoring, and that's me, but I think he's here.
And so did you have other kids after that?
Yes, we adopted two because we didn't have any for quite a while. And then after 2 years, we had a do-it-yourself project. My children, they've all been married once and are still married, and they've stayed out of jail.
What was like a classroom like when you went to school?
We had 30 so people in a class. I went to a private kindergarten when I was 5, and the teacher was very good, and she taught me reading when I was 5.
So you remember that? I have like no recollection of.
Oh, I do. She taught me phonics, and I'm so grateful ever since because it helped me in reading and spelling. And I was the spelling winner in my elementary school and went to a contest on the radio and lost because I couldn't spell attitude.
The school for women, what was.
It's now Florida State University in co-ed, but wasn't when I was there.
What were the primary course offerings?
Well, you know, we were not supposed to be CEOs. We were to be secretaries or dietitians. What else was big? Teachers. A lot of people thought it was a teacher's college.
So if someone was either you or somebody new to say, to heck with this, I want to be a CEO, I want to be.
We didn't think about that. It wasn't possible.
That's interesting.
Well, you know, the Supreme Court justice that graduated from law school, and they offered her a job as secretary because women were not lawyers.
What was your work?
Well, I had business in college, and so I worked at a furniture store as a bookkeeper.
Was that something you studied, or did you learn on the job?
Oh, I learned on the job because, well, I had had accounting in college, and so I knew all about that. And I was pretty young.
Do you have any regrets?
Yeah, probably that I didn't use my talents any that I have more than I did.
What would that have looked like?
I don't know. It didn't happen.
What about your life has allowed you to live this long and healthy and.
Well, I got good genes from my mother. She lived a long time. She was 98, almost 99 when she died. And she lived at Westminster Towers and for about 15 years and was very happy there, as I am.
What do you think about death?
Oh, I'm ready. It's time. and I'm in. I think I'm in favor with God, and I think I know where I'm going, and that gives you a lot of peace, especially when you get near it.
You know, watching this little video and you talking, what advice do you have to younger people today?
To get along peacefully.
Our country's a better place because you've hung around the last century.
Well, I hope so.
So thank you for being who you are, and thanks for going on this ride for us.
It was kind of interesting.